Hi, everybody. Good morning. I'm Satej Sirur, founder and CEO of Rocketium. Glad to be here and talk to you about our quest for product market fit and the journey that we took so far. I'm going to share my screen and put together the small presentation. I'll share that with you. So today I'm going to talk about product market fit for a lot of people. Hopefully, I don't have to explain what product market fit is, but hopefully through the examples that I walk you through, you will be able to see and feel what product market fit fit is and what is not. Just a little bit of background about myself. About 17 years in the industry, worked at very large companies like Microsoft and Amazon. Also, fast-moving startups like a Taxi for Sure, which was in the cab aggregation space. Also, a SaaS company in New York where I was the 13th employee, and of course, Rocketium, where I was one of the first few people to join with my co-founders. Experience in different kinds of companies across different geographies, product management, engineering, stuff like that. But nothing prepared me for the startup journey, especially the winding road to product market fit. So that's something I want to share. Below are a few logos of companies that we work with, just to give you a sense of what we are able to achieve today. Most of these customers we have acquired in the past few months after we acquired the product market fit. So today's agenda is going to be in 4 parts. First is even figuring out what is lack of product market fit, right? As founders, as early team members, we are all believers. We are all always pitching to future team members, to our existing team, to investors, to everybody, obviously customers and things like that. We have to believe a lot in what we are building. But at the same time, we have to be cognizant when something is working and when something is not. And we need to have that third person's objective view so that we can keep evaluating and seeing whether something is really working and whether we have product market fit. So this is going to be a very, very important piece. And this is something we have to keep doing. It doesn't matter what you think you have achieved and whether you have reached that stage and it's a full and final stage that you've reached, because sometimes you could lose it, right? And I won't give examples of that. We have not experienced that because we are just getting to that stage. Also, the hypothesis for this. Now, this will be something that will be very core to your business and you have to figure out hypothesis for your business. But I'll give you examples of our business. So a lot of today's conversation will be centered around Rocketium. Idea is not for me to tell you, hey, specifically how does our business work or our challenges, but for you to see examples. Without that, it will be very generic. So I'll share that. Now, the third one is experiments that we did. This one probably will be the least interesting, even though you feel that that will be the most interesting because you feel that there are some answers, but the answers will be different for every company. It's something that you will have to think about. And finally, the scaling is something that's in B2B SaaS companies is actually going to be very similar, which is just a rinse and repeat process. So quickly jump into it. High level overview I'll give you. When we started, it was actually a long time ago by startup standards. It was 6 years ago. We started off as something totally different. It was a game-based content platform. And this is meant to be what was working. This is meant to be what was not working. So nothing was working and everything was wrong with the business, right? Nobody even understood what the problem was or why it was needed. Then we went into a B2C phase for a few years. We got some success in terms of paying customers, sign-ups, things like that, but very high monthly churn. That is when we realized that something was really wrong with that. And the most troubling thing for us product people was that customer engagement was almost zero. Nobody really would get onto calls. Everybody, you ask them, hey, what can I do with the product? It was always like, what you have done is great and we are happy with what you've built, right? So that was really a very troubling thing for us as product people. Now, today's conversation is going to focus on our B2B phase, which has been something that we have been doing for the last 2 years. It started off with us taking pieces of our B2C product and building a B2B version out of it. How did we do that? There was an API and there was a white label SDK. The good thing was that immediately we saw that churn was much lower. We saw much higher ticket sizes, though fewer customers, but revenue growth was also better. But we couldn't really figure out a repeatable customer acquisition route. Customer success team couldn't really expand those accounts and things like that. And starting last year, we actually built out, working closely with some of our customers, the product that we sell today and what we are so excited about. It's a collaborative workspace. So we took everything that we had built over the years and pieces of it we removed, some pieces we built new. And that product is something where there is repeatable go-to-market motions. We know exactly who we sell to, what do we need to say to them. And some of this is meant to be confidential, but sharing in the spirit of paying it forward to the community. So saying that these kinds of ACVs we are able to get, also the large number of the very large customers that we are able to get. What is not working about this? There are some indicators, but we'll find out only when we reach the next phase. Those other things will be obvious. So talking about that 2019 phase when we were in the B2B, early stages of B2B, growth was fairly up and down. It used to get a few customers, then churn used to happen, again get some customers, sometimes not. So that was one indicator. Even though we were very clear what we had to offer to these people, even though investors, so these are portfolio companies of our investors. And when investors, again, in the spirit of transparency, and this one I'm sharing, but obviously names are struck out. But you will see that when we were reaching out to these kinds of people, the responses would be zero, no responses at all. And even though it was highly personalized, founder personally was writing and investor was connecting, there was no response, right? So not to blame the people on the other side. That's not what they are for, right? That because a founder is reaching out, because investors are reaching out, you should take it. It should tell you that something is not right. People do not value what you have built. These are all just small indicators. Also, in terms of the use cases that were there, very different kinds of companies we had who were using Rocketium for very different use cases. And finally, the current status of that ended up being that all of them churned out, right? Again, nothing wrong with these customers, nothing wrong with what they were trying to do, but that what they were using Rocketium for and what Rocketium was trying to help them for could not be replicated for anybody else. Just because one company in an energy space is using it for customer communication, I can't go to 10 other customers which are similar and tell them that, hey, make personalized videos and show your savings or something. It just did not connect. These were product teams, engineering teams, sometimes business teams. And just because you have a product doesn't mean that they are going to put it in their roadmap, right? So what was very clear was that the use cases were so divergent. We could not really get enough success stories, and those success stories didn't really translate very well to the other companies, right? So that was a big challenge. And obviously, churn is a big indicator that something is not working, right? Also, if you see this deck, this was literally one of the decks that slides of the deck that we used to share in our early days, right? You can see how many things we say over here. Created quickly and at scale with web and mobile products, individual teams and individuals and teams, right? So you just see the number of these things that we are saying, right? So now we are saying that there is a user interface based product where people can create awareness, generate revenue, advertise. So now which one of these should I look at? Right. So somewhere what we were trying to do when we were reaching out was casting a wide net, because we did not know what was working, what was not working. We were saying that, let me show you this buffet and you pick what you want. Right? People don't work like that. They are in a certain department. They have certain priorities. And if you talk to them about what they care about, they are not going to be there to problem solve and brainstorm with you and say, oh, maybe I can do this. Right? And most people don't have time for that. The fact that they came on a sales conversation or engaged with you on email or LinkedIn, that itself is a big deal because everybody's so busy. Right? Now, if you give them this buffet and tell them that, hey, and actually one of our pitches was that we are like a set of Lego building blocks. We have all of these different pieces. You can mix and match and create different kinds of things. Who has the patience to sit and make interesting Lego toys out of your Lego blocks, right? They have a business to run. They have their daily operations. If you tell them something about what they do today is not working, this is the proof that what you're doing is not working. This is how I solve it. Look at an example of a similar customer who's achieved it. Then they want to talk, right? But not something like this. So it was many things, many people, and success stories would be hard to come by, and positioning was quite confusing, right? Also, in terms of products, we had not really chosen which was a product that was working, right? Even in the previous slide, you saw some of this. There was a UI-based product for individuals. There was an API that people could use to trigger video creation, and that time we were only video. I was saying that they have a very broad problem. They had read about us in a funding announcement a few months ago, and they said that, hey, we have a problem. We want to make a large number of videos that our advertisers need, and we want our advertisers to be able to make video ads. So we brainstormed with them and then figured out that instead of video ads, what if we could help them make banner ads? And that was something that was nascent in our software. But we said that your volume of image creation is much more than video creation. That's an interesting problem to solve as well, because even there, what Amazon used to do was give 10 pages worth of guidelines for how these banners should look. And we said we could codify all of that into a template. And like you see here, give a very simple interface where somebody had to just replace an image, couple of captions, and maybe make some small changes like colors and things like that. And their creative would be ready. So this was, and when we were starting to speak with the team, they said that, hey, just send across your API documentation, we'll figure out the rest. And that to me was a no-no, because we knew that a product like this couldn't be visualized. If I tell you that banners could be made with an API, getting their developers involved, it would have taken too long. So what we did, even though the UI doesn't look great, we said that let's quickly put together a demo, a simple page where we can take all of these templates, show an experience to the leadership team. And this is what we pitched to them. And this worked out really, really well. They really liked the concept. They said, okay, let's go ahead with this. And then we decided to make that into a product. So far on this one, very few people were involved. A couple of people were there from the business side. A couple of developers were there. And as this validation was happening, we also went to other people. Right? So we went to some more companies and we said that, hey, this is what we had heard from you a few months ago. We didn't have a product for it because we were trying to pitch you our API and SDK. Now look at this very simple UI where you could pick a template, replace two things, and multiple creatives you would get. Because in this case, if you see an urban company within their app or the ads that they do, there is a very similar look and feel to the creatives. And what we wanted to allow them to do was just replace those things and make creatives at a large scale. So we went to them, they said, yeah, this sounds good. So that's what helped us understand that this was not so much an Amazon specific solution or an advertising specific solution, but in general, what marketing and growth teams face. So they have to make content which is very similar. They have to make content in different sizes. They have to do different experiments, and they want to do it very, very quickly, but without really compromising on how it looks. So it has to look exactly like how their designer has made, but now they're able to change a design experience to a content entry experience. That is really what we are able to figure out. So again, the bones of this were always there. Our first B2C product in some ways was a more complex version of this. So actually it was about cutting down a lot of stuff. Instead of complex video with timeline and custom animations and things like that, here was a very, very dumbed down version of that, which was you have 5 or 6 elements, replace it, and you get your creative, and you get it in multiple sizes, multiple variants you could make. And that started from working with one company which had a use case. We said, let's quickly prototype. So somewhere we had to believe in that use case enough to make that kind of a prototype. Now in every company, those kinds of use cases might not come. The bet that you have to take might look too 180 degree from what you're doing. So that's really where the art of this comes, right? And which is why I had asked that poll as well, saying that which teams do you think are responsible for getting product market fit? Because in some of these cases, the answers, in our case at least, the answers have come from the engineering team, or they've come from the design team, or the sales team, right? So that's why I feel everybody has to keep their eyes and ears open until you reach product market fit to see what can really work, what among the things that you can already do, what among the pain points that customers face can be the ones you can go after, which you're not doing today. So after that, what has happened? The product that was started off from that very simple user interface has become much, much more complex today, and obviously very configurable, because not everybody needs that sort of complexity. We have completely non-designers who are using the product who need a very simple interface. We have that as well. We have very heavy-duty designers who want every feature of a Photoshop, which has been around for 30 years. Without Rocketium, that is what they would end up using, right? So all of those features we ended up building. But what was really important is the fact that we iterated and did all of this with our customers. Before this, remember when the B2C phase of it, or even the early B2B part of our life, the challenge was that our customers either were too diverse. So we couldn't really figure out what was common. What worked for one, we couldn't take it to the other one. In the case of our B2C avatar, our customers didn't even want to talk. If you ask them, hey, what can I do better? They didn't just, if your customers are not complaining about your product, something should tell you that they don't care. Right? So I think that was one big challenge that we used to ask people, what can we do better? What doesn't work? In the B2C avatar, nobody even complained, right? And that told us that really either you are 10 on 10 product you've built, which is not possible, or customers really don't care. So whereas here we had so much feedback, so many things we wanted to build. One customer came and said that, hey, how can I make only 100 creatives? Why can I make only 100 at a time? I want to make 10,000. Right. And so we had to spend a month to scale up the product. Every part of the product, the funnel right from using the product in the web interface to our services, to rendering, to storage, everything had to be upgraded to support 10,000 creatives. Without customers like that who are really pushing us to do more, we couldn't have built this product. So what should give you a sign of early product market fit is that these customers are continuously working with you, telling you their pain points, telling you what about your product needs to get better so that you can build something with them. So I think that would be the first thing, more than trying to scale your leads or trying to improve your deal to win conversion. It would be this sort of engagement that should tell you that you are approaching product market fit, right? So today, how do we know that there is product market fit? There isn't any sort of magic email that you get from somebody saying that you get it, right? So these are signals. So you can choose to believe you have it. You can choose not to believe you can have it, right? So right now we feel we have it because of these are just from a random week. I picked, we use this sales engagement software called Apollo, in which you are able to create sequences for outreach and connecting over different touch points like LinkedIn, email, calling, things like that. And over there, you can see this is just from the email part of it. If you factor in other touch points, this number actually goes up much, much higher. So just in email, you are seeing that almost 17% of the people to whom we send out an email respond very, very positively. They want to know more about it, right? And so we were able to, just like with the product, we were able to pare down what all we do fewer things, say fewer things, and connect to a very specific pain point that the customer has, right? And that is something that we are seeing over here. This is also from just one day, right? You can see this was April 12th. I have blanked out the names of the customers because that itself is not important. But you can see on that one day, starting from 8:59 a.m. to 3:30, 3:45 in the afternoon, you can see all of these deals were created by the team, right? And this was just a random day of the week. So the teams are able to get much better lead to deal conversion, which is people saying, yes, I want to talk, to when you talk to them and tell them what the product is, they say, yes, I want to see a demo. I think, or after they've done the demo, they say that, yes, this is of value, right? So that's a very high conversion that we are seeing. And that's what tells us that, yes, we've figured out this vertical, this use case, this product experience that is working for these people. So now what is the next level? Again, this is our pipeline, our customers I'm showing, just sharing in the spirit of paying back. So don't read any more into it. But the idea here is that we have now said that these are the kind of customers we have. This is what is working. So now let's go deeper into verticals. So we are saying that we have split the kind of customers we have into the way they operate, because within the way they operate, they perform very similarly. Their operations are similar, designations are similar, pain points are similar. So that was one way. Within that, we said, let's go industry by industry, because now people within an industry, within a type of business, so a marketplace operates very differently from a brand which is selling only its products. So, and even within that, general merchandise and grocery and all of those people might behave differently. So that's how we are putting it together. We are now going to them with very relevant case studies, very relevant success stories. So they know that they can also achieve the same thing, right? That's something that we are doing. Also, what we are trying to do is expand the story. We are not saying anymore that this is design software, make design faster, stuff like that. Now we are taking one level higher positioning, saying that, why are you really making design? Design is just a way for you as a business to communicate with your customer. The banner or video that an end user ultimately sees is you talking to them about some promise, saying, download my app, get this discount, refer somebody, whatever else, right? And so the idea is that we don't want to talk about what you do with our software, because after that you are doing some other things. There was a reason why you even came and did this. So what we talk about was that these creatives that you make are being used in your growth campaigns, right? Ultimately, you're trying to drive your app installs or purchases or engagement, things like that. So we talk about that, saying that, hey, today you have this idea for why you're using our product. If you think about the broader scope, this is how you should think about using our product. And when you talk to them about the different business objectives, where you say that, hey, today you are only trying to do getting app installs. But when people come inside your app, you're actually not doing anything for onboarding. If you do onboarding, you are able to get 3x better return. So when they hear something like that, it's like, oh, wow, I didn't know I could use Rocketium for that. So what we are able to do is go deeper into each customer, tell them specifics of what we have learned about the industry. And that is only possible because of the steps that we did before. We focused on fewer things. We went deeper into each of those areas. We worked very closely with customers. And after that, we are able to build a very, very focused and narrow product. Right. So this is how we talk to our customers today. This positioning is still something that we are refining, but the idea is that we want our customers to see us as a partner in their growth. And we also acknowledge that why design software should be seen as a partner in the growth. Why not marketing automation? Why not some other software? Everybody could be seen as that, but that's a positioning we want to take, right? And we feel that talking like this is leading to much better outcomes for our discovery calls, for our sales closures, any upsell that is happening, all of that. It gives a lot more structure, right? So what we have done is what has been working, we are expanding the story. And even if the product is exactly the same, the way we are positioning it has evolved. So just to recap what was discussed today, because I breezed through a lot of it. The first part is figuring out that something is not right, right? You have to figure that out. And this could be at any stage. You could be at 1 million in revenue. You could be at 10 million in revenue. But something will tell you that some part of your operations are not right, right? It could be your growth is not really as predictable. Your new people that you talk to, it takes a lot of effort to sell to them, because I have known $5 million ARR companies also who see this sort of a thing, where it's very difficult to sell even a 10K a year kind of a product, right? And also you have to do a lot of customization, a lot of setup and things like that. So something should tell you it's not right. So you might have product market fit, but it might be product market fit not in the right segment, right? Then your team has to come up with some factors that contribute to it. And that is something only your team can do, which is why, like I said before, you have to figure out with different diverse people in your team, what are some of those things. Just founders can't do it. They have a certain point of view. They have to be over optimistic, over pitching all the time. And so multiple other people also have to contribute. Then you have to iterate out of this. This can't be the entire company changing direction and working on it, but a few people starting off and then maybe adding more. But what is important is to figure out a customer type and their use case, which already exists, which won't suddenly vanish. In our case, a lot of that used to happen because the way they used our product, the reason for which they used it was very experimental. So when those companies did not exist or the use case went away, we used to lose that customer, right? Important to build the solution with them. Your customers can be your guide for solving their problems, right? So be obsessed with the problem, not with the customer, because sometimes customers cannot tell you what has to be built, right? If you know what the problem is, that is what they can tell you. You can build it. And then you want to replicate it. And finally, you have to build on this story. And some things that will tell you that now it is working, because it's again that feedback loop saying, now how do you know that it's working? Is your growth better? Are conversations with new prospects very predictable? Are the use cases for which people are using you getting more and more convergent? That should tell you that the story is working. So that was what I wanted to cover today. And I'll stop now. If there are any questions, I'm happy to take it. Otherwise, this is my email address. You can feel free to write to me, and I'm happy to help you in this journey. I think there are a few questions. I'm just going to look through that. We have another 3 minutes, so do that. Okay, top 3 tools that you use in your role that you cannot live/work without. Okay. Yeah, this one for me at least varies from month to month depending on which area I'm focusing on. So let me actually look for a question that is related to product market fit. Yeah, I think the second one is very interesting by Srivatsa Balan about GTM strategy for beta closed group release. So in fact, what I'm saying is to get out of that hole and getting unstuck, I think it's important to do exactly this, right? The customers that you have, whether they are paying customers, already existing customers, you should think of them as this closed beta group, which is helping you build your product. So if you're working with them, I think In fact, if you are outside a closed beta and you've actually launched a product, you should go back to this kind of a mode of working. Work very closely with them. So I wouldn't say it's very different. In fact, for existing products, if you don't have product market fit, you should have this kind of a strategy. Okay. Account-based marketing was another question by Deepak. Yeah, I think in our case, so depending on what price point your product sells at, or the kind of customers that you have, account-based marketing might work for you. In our case, it certainly works because we are very, very clear. You saw those lists of companies that we had made. We were very intent on getting certain kinds of customers because we have certain kinds of existing customers, so we want to get more of them. So we do very highly targeted outreach to them. This is happening both from our sales team. Our demand generation team is latching on specifically for those kinds of accounts and reaching out to them. Right. So that is high level on account-based marketing as well. Hari?
Hey Satej, thank you so much for joining in for the conference today and presenting here. And our session is about to end. And any more questions, guys? You have any more questions? Please tag Rocketium and Satej, and put it to and tag SAS inside also, so he knows your guys are coming from here and he can answer it from his Twitter account. And we'll get a good engagement through that. And if not, just reach out to us. We'll convey the questions to Satej and get it answered for you. And thank you so much for dropping in. And see you. Please carry on to the conference. We have the next session coming up, and in this particular track, it will be John Lim from Auth0, specifically talking about the identity management solutions right now. So carry on. And Satej, I'm taking you downstage now, backstage.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.